Hi guys, it's Jenny here from Angel Handmade Papercraft. Today I am sharing with you the Love From Lizi August 2018 kit. This kit is absolutely spectacular. It's full of shine and golds and silvers and it's so pretty. So I'm starting with card number 1. I'm using some of the tags of the punch outs or pop outs or whatever you call them. So I'm just adhering 2 of them together. Just trying to work out some pattern papers that are going to match up today. Alright, so we are going to start with a white card base. It's a square. I use a 13 by 13 centimeter square card base. I am also using the stencil that comes in the kit. It's actually a sticky back stencil, which is pretty cool, which means that you can adhere it down and it's not going to move anywhere. So I'm just removing the backing very, very carefully so as to not rip it. And then I'm going to pop it down onto a piece of square card that I cut out. And I'm using some of my Tim Holtz Distress inks in the purples and a mini Distress ink blending tool. And I'm going to blend them all over. Just doing that very quickly. And then I'm going to add some of the darker colour over the top. Once I've done that, I'm going to use my Ranger Mini Mister, which I've already got filled up. It's got water and some shimmer powder in it. So I'm just going to spray that down as quickly there. You didn't really get to see too much of that, but that's all I've done there. Nothing exciting. And then I'm going to leave it on for a few seconds, and then I'll use a piece of paper towel to carefully lift up some of that colour. And wipe up my stencil at the same time. So just a suggestion to make sure that you leave your stencil on there until the paper is dry. That sort of prevents the tearing and things. So now I'm going to add here my 2 tags on top of each other. I'm just going to use some Scotch ATG gun to do that. And then I'll lay them down to the white card that I've now stenciled. And I'm going to make a bow using one of those little bow cutout punch outs. And I've just added a brad to the center of this one. Yes, I still have brads in my stash. I used to love brads. I still use them very occasionally, but I thought it would be perfect just for the center of this bow. So just popping those 2 tags together. I'm going to run some ATG across the back of that bow, just popping the edges back up again, and then I'm going to use some of the alphabet letters from the alphabet sticker sheet. Just trying to line them up perfectly. I'm just using my Cutter Bee EK Success scissors to do that. And they just didn't want to go where I needed them to go. I think my hands were too cold to even hold on to them. That was half the problem. And I've just done the word thanks. And now I'm going to use some of that gold star embellishment, the vellum. I'm going to cut that to size, and then I'm going to use a die and cut the center so I can use the rest of that on another project and I'm not wasting too much. So I'm actually only using the border piece, which is going to be covered up anyway. So just adhering that down. Now popping that down onto my card base. Just using the Scotch ATG gun. And that was card number 1 done. Now we're going to get started on card number 2. Just having a look through all the goodies in the kit, trying to work out what I'm going to use. Just grabbing another one of my white card bases. I'm going to try and use that gold, the other die cut that I made when I was cutting out for the last card. My plan was to use one of these journaling cards, And I'm just going to stamp on the center of it with one of the sentiments. Popping that into my mini Misty, because I had a feeling that I may, because the stamps haven't been used before and they were one of those, I can't even think of the words today, where it's mainly black and then the sentiment word is actually white. Is it de-embossed or something like that? I'm not sure. So I did use my mini Misty to stamp that a few times to make sure that I got a perfect stamping. Now I'm going to pop that onto the center of my card. And I'm going to add one of those little gold arrows to the top right hand side of my card. And that was, I stamped the diamonds on there just using some black memento ink. My camera actually died, of course, timing. And that was card number 2 done. So now I'm working on card number 3. I'm using another one of these pop outs, and I'm also using one of these silver tags that came in the kit. And just popping that down using my Scotch ATG. Just making sure it's all centered. Grabbing one of my white card bases. Now I decided to go pretty simple with this one. I absolutely loved this card design, so I'm just going to add a piece of the silver lined pattern paper that was in the kit to the back and pop the pop out down, and that's pretty much card number 2 done. Was quite happy with the design. I only wanted to go something simple and it was perfect. And that's card number 3 done, guys. So now we're going on to card number 4. So again, just getting one of my pre-made card bases here. I am a square card user. I'm using some of that silver lined silver strips paper that was left over from the last card, and I am using this large sentiment stamp. Again, I'm using my mini Misty for this one because again it's majorly black and just has that little bit of white. So I didn't want it to mess up when I was stamping, so I'm going to put it in my mini Misty so that I am able to stamp it a few times. Reason being is because they are new stamps, the ink doesn't stick to them overly well, so the more you use them, the more they stamp well. So just stamping that down a few times. One more, why not? Just make it that little bit darker. Alright, then I'm happy with it. I'm just using a baby wipe to clean up my stamp, popping my ink away before I get ink anywhere, and I just use my EK Success Cutter Bee scissors to fussy cut that out. And I'm also adding one of the little sentiments up in the top left hand corner, so I popped that into my mini Misty as well, stamped it out a few times and cleaned up the stamp. So now I'm wanting to use some of that happy birthday ribbon, so I'm just going to run that down the right hand side of the silver paper, and I'm just going to add a small piece of black just to bring that up off the page a little bit, or up off the card a little bit. I'm using my Scotch ATG gun to adhere everything down. And I did the same thing here. I just ran the ATG down the side just so that the ribbon will stick. I'll cut that down using my EK Success scissors, and then I'll wrap it around the back and tape it down. Won't be going anywhere. So just making sure it's straight, and I did decide to use some of this other ribbon as well, so I just added some adhesive down underneath. No, did I change my mind again? Yes, I did. I'm adding some of the bling down that was in the kit, the sequins. I couldn't find my little sticky tool that I normally would use, so I was just using my fingers there. So now I'm moving on to card number 5. Now you do see me playing with this ribbon, but I didn't end up actually using it. So I left it in there to show you guys my process. I do kind of play with a few things at a time, and then I will change my mind and things. So I wanted to play with the little present die, so I'll run that through my Sizzix Big Shot. shortly, just off screen. I don't have enough room on my desk to pop everything in front of me. So I just ran that through just using some of the black cardstock. And I did pop a black ribbon on the present box here, but I didn't end up actually using it. I changed my mind a few times. I happened to do that. I had some gold cardstock left over from one of the other kits, so I did cut a ribbon out using that. Just because I wanted it all to blend in and I didn't want the present to be too boring. Presents are supposed to be fab. And I cut the little tag die out as well, but didn't decide not to use that one again. And then I ran it through again with a little bit of white. I've added some of the gold ribbon to make a little tie to the side of the tag. And I'm using another one of the little pop-outs here, so I'm adhering the present to the side of that. And that's when I realized that the ribbon was just too much for this card, so I decided not to use it. So I'm going to add some of the black cardstock as a matte layer behind. Just playing with some of the pattern papers, just trying to work out what's going to bring my little present off the page the best. So I had this little star piece left over from one of the other cards, so I did decide to use that. Now it is vellum, so I did add a little bit of American Tombow Mono Multi behind each of the stars just to stick that vellum down so that you wouldn't see the glue. I'm using some of the gold stripy paper and I'll adhere the stars to that. So here I am adding that liquid adhesive behind all the little stars, not too much because I didn't want it to leak out. Laying that down, and I did adhere this piece as well just using the liquid glue just because it was right in front of me. So I'll now pop this down to the card base using Scotch ATG, and that will be this card finished. I do decorate the insides of my cards, I just don't normally do it on video because it'll just make the video too long. Alright, so now we're moving on to card number 6. We're over halfway now. So I'm just going to use one of the cards, the pop-outs. I'm going to adhere it to one of my square card bases. Just looking through all the other bits and pieces, trying to work out what else I can add. Sorry guys, didn't put my phone on silent. So I decided to use one of the little gold pop-outs with the word love in it, the little triangle. I thought it was gorgeous and I wanted to use it. The gold polka dots just seemed to fall into the card a little bit too much, so I decided to add a piece of the black behind it and then I will banner it. Once I get it straight, I will banner the bottom of it just using my EK Success Cutter Bee scissors. And that will be this card pretty much done. Again, it's just a very, very simple. Now I'm playing with a few other things. This is what I do. I think the card's finished, and I think what else can I add? So I decided to add some ribbon to the side of this one. So again, just running a little bit of Scotch ATG down, and then I will cut the ends off and adhere them to the back. Alright, so I'm going to pop it down to my card here, making sure that it's nice and centered. And I decided to add some of the Nouveau crystal drops that came in the kit this month. Absolutely gorgeous. I love my Nouveau drops, you guys will know that. I've been having a little bit of drama with them lately, just our weather's been a little up and down at the moment, so some of them seem to be cracking. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's the fact that it's so cold or what is going on, but I was very lucky with these ones. It didn't actually happen on any of these cards. Alright, so now I'm moving on to card number 7. So I'm using the present die again, just trying to work out what I'm going to do. Grabbing one of my card bases. So I'm using a tag pop out from the kit. And I'm going to add the little present to it. I'm using the black bow that I had cut earlier and the little gold tag that I cut earlier. I'm using some of the gold stripy paper that was leftovers from one of the other cards as well. And I'm going to pop on one of these pop out bows. I'm going to adhere it all together. And then I decide to just use a little bit of bling pearl on the center of this one. So I'm going to adhere that little present down using my Tombow Mono Multi. And the tag down as well using the same glue, and the bow as well. So popping all that down to the stripy piece. I still didn't feel completely finished, so I'm just looking through now to work out what else I can add to my card. I decided to add some of the black ribbon down, and then I'm going to layer a piece of the gold as well. And I decided it needed a sentiment, but I wanted to use something a little bit bigger, so I die cut a hello word from one of the dies in my stash. And then I'm going to add some of the little stars that were leftover pieces from these the present when I ran it through the die cut machine. It cuts out all these little stars. And I'm going to add here the sentiment using the Tombow Mono Multi. Popping that down onto my card base using the Scotch ATG. Alright, that's another one done. Now we're working on card number 8. 3 more to go, guys. Alright, so I'm using some of these gold lined pattern paper, and I'm going to adhere some of the stars to the center. I absolutely loved these star stamps. Ugh. These star pattern paper. Don't know what's going on with my words today. Alright, and I'm going to use one of these gold punch outs. Ignore the background noise. I have washing going, multitasking. I'm going to use one of these little gold polka dot bows. I'm just putting it all together using the Scotch ATG, and I'm going to add one of those little stars from the present die to the center. Adhere that down using the Scotch ATG. Sorry, that was the Tombow Mono Multi I used on this one. And then popping my star down. Adhering that down to the stars layer, I'm also going to add one of those little gold arrows down. And I decided to off-center my stars paper here, just to bring it off the page a little bit. Grabbing one of my white card bases and adhering it down using the Scotch ATG gun. Making sure my card is the right way around. I have a habit of accidentally not checking and adhering things down the wrong way. So just popping up the ends of my bow, and I decided to add some of the little alphabet letters from the sticker sheet. And I'm going to write out the word lovely, which I thought was absolutely perfect. We all know Leslie. Oh, I lost my words again. Alright, moving on to card number 9. Just ignore my words. Don't know what's going on with me today. Second last card, guys. It's gone very quickly. I had so much fun with this kit. What I was going to say earlier was we all know how much Lizzie loves to use the word lovely. We're all Lizzie's lovelies here. I think it was all the L words. I think that's what stuffed me up. So I'm just putting together a few of the bits and pieces from the punch out. So I'm just using the You're a Star banner and one of the bows. And I'm going to use some more of that silver striped paper. And just working out what I'm going to do. I have decided to grab a doily from my stash. You guys know I cannot do a 10 cards one kit without adding at least one doily. So that's what I'm doing here, just adhering everything using the Tombow Mono Multi. Just making sure I don't adhere too much because then I end up with glue everywhere like that. Popping the doily down using the Tombow Mono Multi liquid adhesive. Down to the silver stripy paper. And I'm going to add one of the little banner pieces from the kit. Using my Scotch ATG gun to add that all to my card base. Alright, that's another card done. So now we're working on the last card, guys. Can you believe it? That was the quickest 10 cards I have made in a long time. I have grabbed some of that star paper that I absolutely love, that I want to hoard, but I know I need to use it. Working out what I'm going to do. So I like the idea that I could see the stars behind the polka dots, so I actually decided to layer those up. And I am going to use this little star circle, just using a Lawn Fawn acrylic block to stamp that down. I'm actually going to emboss it. So I'm stamping it down using Versamark watermark ink pen, making sure that I close my ink up. I'm just using a cupcake case. I don't drink coffee, I don't have coffee filters, so I decided to use a cupcake one. They're not as big, but they do the job. So I'm using some of the silver embossing powder that came in the kit. Now on the left hand side there you can see I'm trying a few times, but I must not have pushed very hard on that spot with my stamp, but that's okay, I'll cover that up later. Alright, popping my embossing powder away, and I'm going to grab my heat gun and heat that up and melt the embossing powder. Alright, so here I am just melting that embossing powder. So you can see that it goes shiny once all that is melted. So pretty. Alright, so I'll cut that to size, and I'm looking at using the present die to add to the center of that. Just popping out all of the little stars out of the present. And popping on the white bow that I had left over. And I decided to run another one of the present dies through using some white cardstock. I wanted to make sure that I couldn't see the embossed behind the present. So I used another one, ran it through my die cut machine. I'm just going to layer it over the top and just carefully push all those stars out so that they went into exactly the right spot. So I had one there that was a little bit stubborn, but the rest of them went on perfectly. So I've cut that to size, and now I'm just looking for some pattern paper for the backing. So I'm using some of the polka dots, adhering that down using the Scotch ATG gun. I must have moved my Scotch ATG gun because I'm now using my Tombow Mono Multi just on that spot there. I'm going to add some of the Nouveau Crystal Drops. I'm going to pat those down so that I get that little dome shape. They were stubborn, didn't want to go down, but we got there eventually. So I decide now to add another one of these bows. I couldn't leave any of them behind. I just thought they were too adorable. Just playing with where I'm going to use it, being very careful not to touch those Nouveau drops because they are still very wet. And that is card number 10 done. Just fixing up a little spot there that I must have rubbed something on. And thanks for stopping by, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.